Heirs to Heresy, Part 11. We ended last time with the Templars and the woodswoman Annalise returning to their nearby camp after confronting this stalking beast, a werewolf that seemed to have layered up in this ancient cairn of the woods of France, English territory, France, but France nonetheless. And after slaying the werewolf, it reverted into its human form. Annalise recognized a priest from one of the nearby towns that she's been to as a local woodswoman. She didn't remember much about him, but recognized him all the same. And indeed, there were other signs and suggestions about the nature of the wolf's cairn and its curse through some rationale and evidence and past experiences, particularly through the lens of the Beaumont house. You have this idea that the wolf cairn is afflicted with ancient druidic and fey magics that act as a sort of transformational curse under certain conditions to become a guardian of nature. And there was some like insight into this, but I did pull back the curtain a little bit with how mechanically this would work. There is a way to cleanse the site, but it requires a lot of faith points, which at the current state of things, our Templars do not have. Torben was also pretty heavily knocked around in confronting the werewolf and almost lost consciousness inside the cairn, though was briefly visited by a hallucination, perhaps, of his moonlit woman that he has seen in a couple of dreams now, who very gently cradled him and warned him not to fall asleep in this place. Elias was also quite affected by the revelation that the werewolf was a man of God, apparently. And Esteval had a good time shooting things with Annalise. We return to Annalise's camp by the dark. Thunder has begun to rumble in the distance. This otherwise dry autumn night is turning chill and damp with the approach of an oncoming storm that's still quite a bit out, but it ripples across the forest. Annalise is fletching, adjusting her bow, while the rest of you are at camp. I will remind everybody that this does count as a safe downtime. So you may use any of the wilderness downtime actions, one each, you can conceal your trail to remove pursuit points. You can pray for faith points, recovering health, or you can train to give yourselves advantage on something the following day. I also have some in mind, some things that might happen here during camp this night, but I would like to figure out what the three of you would like to do in terms of some camp actions. Esteval, you're the least messed up of the group. What do you want to do?
I think I want to I don't know if this would count as training, but I do want to take some time to go hunting for some more salves. I think I have room for two more. Um I guess I can either do that. I can suggest doing that in lieu of training, or if not, then training craft to prepare for
Are you specifically?
herbalism.
Would you be you said hunting, or would this be foraging for things, or would you also be looking for like game?
I mean, herbalism or
Sure.
the ability is herbalist, so I think he would be looking
Okay.
specifically for stuff to make some of these poultices and potions that he's been making. So foraging, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Then you'll be stalking the nearby area, looking to forage some stuff. That sounds good. I don't think you need to actually do any of the specific like downtime actions for that. You can do that in addition to a downtime action because that is
Okay.
its own like check to find it.
Yeah,
Um
yeah. It's intellect craft to
mhm.
actually produce one of these salves. So I think
Yeah.
I will train craft, but the way that he's doing this is studying the herbalism guide, I think.
Okay, I'm into it. Yeah. And Yeah, you don't need to do like a downtime action for the sake of like finding stuff. I think even with the stuff you had found earlier, you have a decent idea of what's here, and the herbalism book can help you. So you can just put your effort on crafting it. You will still get a downtime action if you so desire, but I'll come back to you while you're thinking about that. Elias, you're having a bit of a crisis. How do you spend your evening?
Yeah, life is always rough. I think I also haven't rolled some of my stamina back because it's still at zero, and I think you get 2d3 when
At
you leave
the end
combat.
of combat, that is
Okay,
correct. I
let
double check the
me.
dice actually. Hold on, just to be sure. Healing 1d4 plus vitality
Oh, 1d4
immediately. Yeah. So
plus
Torben would also have that
vitality.
back if you haven't rolled it yet.
Let's see, 1d4. Okay, so the whole five. Um,
Wow.
yeah, he should probably heal up a little.
Yeah, that's Kevin put in the chat. The 2d3 is from the salve specifically,
Right.
which is also useful. Which I think you have a use of that.
I think I used
Oh, then go ahead
it.
and remove it from your equipment.
Oh, if I haven't removed it, then I
I don't think,
don't remember.
yeah, I don't think you would have used it. I don't think there's ever time to
I
use
don't
it
think
in
there was time to
combat.
use it in combat, so you can use it now if you'd like to get even more stamina back, and then recover at camp and get even more stamina back.
I think in that case, I'll use the self to recover, and I'll do some praying to
Okay,
get
your fate point.
my fate point back
Yeah, go ahead
because
and
I need
roll
those.
2d3 for your stamina. And on the topic of getting some faith points back, you're gonna need to make your faith plus religion test. It is a difficulty of 15, and you get one faith point back if you succeed. So go ahead and roll your dice, and I'll revisit you here in a moment, so we can talk about what this looks like in the fiction. Torben, did you roll your stamina recovery?
I did, yes.
Very good. How are you doing after the fight?
Uh, I mean, he was pretty messed up. He got really chewed on. So I think I'm going to be using both my salve and a heal action. So
Sure,
roll
absolutely. Um,
4d3.
4d3 is how much you recover. That's right.
That's a total of 11.
Oh, very good. You're almost back up to full.
Almost.
Almost. Tell us a little bit about the scene of Torben back at camp after the wolf scare, because you took a beating.
He's obnoxious. The first thing he's going to be doing is getting as inebriated as he can. If there's anything, he doesn't care. If it's rubbing alcohol, he'll dilute it real well, but it's going down the hatch.
Annalise at one point says, "I only brought two wineskins with me, but something tells me you would appreciate them a bit more." And she'll let you drink from hers.
My thanks. This will take the edge off.
It is a miracle to me that you are still standing.
You've not met a Dane before.
Clearly, I have not. Certainly heard of them. Doesn't say
We
more on
are
it.
rather loud.
Hmm.
He's in visible pain, but those wineskins don't last long.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
then
they
he's
don't.
probably singing.
Of course. Torben's voice echoing through the woods while Elias prays. Esteval, you wanted to roll for your herbalism
I wanted to train crafting, to
for
ideally get
tomorrow.
advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But
you could hold off doing herbalism to today, so you can do it tomorrow.
yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that. Very good.
And
So you're studying the herbalism book for a bit. Um,
I actually think like Annalise and Esteval, like Esteval might like bring Annalise over and just have her like help explain some of these herbs. The book is useful, but we're out here in a place Esteval's never been in his life. There are plants he doesn't recognize. She's a huntress. She probably knows a couple things about them. And uh, he's got the book there for cross-referencing, but I think he's tapping her for knowledge on like what might be useful.
Well, I don't know about anything in this book of yours. Can't actually read it, but the illustrations are very pretty, very accurate.
Uh, it's a book I recovered from the barracks where we studied. It's one of the only things I have left.
Hmm. She like looks at your crossbow that's probably nearby, and she says, "They train you to use that as well."
They did, yes. Esteban was
Never,
carrying his crossbow after the night incident in Royan. He doesn't really let it go off his body if he can avoid it.
never was the most fond of them myself. Not anything personal. It's just a little slow for my tastes to reload.
No, you're correct. The reload is a bit of a problem.
But I will say, I do not think I've ever actually seen someone wield one so efficiently. And your aim is exceptional. I've only ever heard of the Templars by stories, and I've heard that they were warriors. She just shrugs as if that really doesn't concern her, and she says, "But I appreciate good aim. And I know that it's a hell of a thing to strike any quarry at distance in the dark while it's thrashing about." She like elbows you a little bit and says, "Seriously, kid, good on you."
Well, uh, it's military implements. We need the extra punch to get through armor, so crossbow does make sense in exchange for a longbow in cases of. I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No,
You're an excellent shot too, by the way. You've probably grown up on the bow, I imagine.
well, indeed. Though I have used a crossbow before, not really with any practicality. My father was, well, we've always been folk of these woods, but during the tough times, he enlisted with the army, joined up as a soldier, learned a bit, used a crossbow more often than not, showed me what he knew. Thankfully, he came back, and still I prefer the bow. I know that's not the life for me, but I have utilized it. And may I speak frankly, Master Estevao?
Please, just Esteban.
I never know how to refer to Templars. At least some I've always heard of Lord or Sir. Do I call you Sir Estevao?
Just Esteban at this point.
Estevao. May I be honest with you?
You you may.
You're a good shot, but your technique is a bit shit.
I see.
Want to learn a trick?
I'm all ears.
Pick up your crossbow. And she like gets up and like walks towards like the edge of camp and just like grabbing like a few like unchopped logs for like firewood and just like begins like propping them up at distance, still like at a kind of in the gloom, so they're a little shadowed, but like still with enough ambient light to make them visible against the forest. And she says, "Shoot the one on the left."
Esteban raises his crossbow and aims.
Mm-hmm. Reload.
Takes out the reloading arm. Has to crank it back. Put in the bolt.
Okay.
Shoulder it.
Now this time, feel the weight of it in your hands, in your arms, the way it presses into your shoulder. It's nested quite nicely. My father used to impart whole lessons on the proper way to hold it. But you got it down. but I need you to focus on your breathing. Match me. Chewing into like breathe steadily, rhythmically. Now, this time, I want you to aim for the middle one. And as soon as you release, you need to exhale. You need to keep breathing completely normally as this rhythm is now. I don't want you to hitch. You can't let the energy of the moment alter your state of being. I forget how my father referred to it, but keep the steady breathing, but move quickly. And I want you to reload as fast as you can while maintaining that rhythm. And then, as if it was part of your natural breathing itself, fire again at the middle. You might take a few tries, but go on, give it a shot.
Very well. Shoulder, fire, cycle, reload, arm back, bolt in, shoulder, fire.
Mm-hmm. And it takes a bit of time, a few more rounds of Annalise showing you and instructing you into the night. But eventually, when you land a shot, there is this like, it hits, it resounds just perfectly. You are in this flow state where mechanically, it's like you're viewing yourself, from an outside source. Lock it, pull it, reload, shouldered, launched, and that breathing remains steady. And it sails within seconds to strike that exact same target. It's probably one of the fastest shots you've ever landed. And through this evening of training with Annalise, Esteval, you gain the marksman, martial esoterica. I'll post this in the chat. When you make an attack with your crossbow or an English longbow, if you roll a critical, you may immediately attack again as part of the same action. It allows you to chain attacks if you roll multiple criticals.
Bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yep.
Are you sure you're not a soldier?
She just shrugs and says,
No, I'm sorry. That sounds dismissive and reductive. It's been something of a worry of mine that the Templars have spent so much time separated from the people that we've been told we were supposed to protect, that we forgot what those people are like and who they are.
well, there are surprises in the world still.
Certainly.
All right. You're on first watch, Esteval. I'm taking to bed.
Very well. Rest well.
Elias, what did you get from your roll?
16 on the dice plus 8.
Nice. So you regain a faith point. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about this scene of where Elias finds himself and what his prayers might look like.
Yeah, I think he's sort of looking and feeling a little lost. And he's still sort of in that state of mind where his mind keeps like sort of having these fragments and like wandering, and he's trying to grab onto something useful, but also he doesn't want maybe to know more because his family shouldn't be knowing these things. He shouldn't be knowing these things. But I think he sees like Esteval go off with Annalise and Torben just getting like progressively drunker. And I think he doesn't even like excuse himself. It's more like he just kind of disappears a little bit because he's like pretty sure that they're not gonna notice anyway. And he feels like a little too raw and vulnerable to like talk to either of them in these states. So I think he's like isolating himself even further, and he'll have to grill back now. And I think he's just sort of like compulsively going over it, and like his fingers are just like going over the edge of it, and like just compulsively like trying to feel it and feel if there's like any like damage done to it, which I don't suppose there is, but just like compulsively like feeling every tiny ridge of it, like every little change in texture. And like as he does this, he's just he's just like starting to pray. Just like a paternoster, just like a very
Mhm.
like standard thing, just to kind of get his mind of it. But it's like it's got this like very compulsively frantic energy to it, where it gets like slower as he keeps doing it, but it's like this fugue state where it almost looks like if you would pull him out of it, like he would not know where he is. He just kind of keeps doing it.
I think as you're going through these motions, indeed you do begin to like calm down, and the grail is undamaged. It is in the state you found it. It looks identical. It actually looks somehow even better. Not that it's like miraculously repaired or glows. There's just a an aura to it that has always been there, but it brings relief. And there's something different tonight, though, which is as you're holding in your hands and as you feel it's coming, it it just sit the way it sits in your palm and the way it just feels to be in its presence. It's almost this complete like reassurance, like this is okay. Everything is all right. You are on the right path. And curiously, your mind wanders to that dream you had well over a month ago now of watching Alphonse drink from the cup and burst into flames, and this whole like sense of you're just not worthy of your name or your faith. That dream, it's been removed by weeks and weeks of travel and the recent events. But dreams, no matter how old they are, if they stick, they can kind of like haunt you for a while. You no longer feel like the residual echoes of how that dream made you feel. In fact, you almost feel like with utter surety, you can contradict that as just as not being a part of you anymore. That's not a there's no concern there. You feel that if you were to drink from the cup, everything would be okay. And I want to be clear, this is not like some supernatural compulsion of like I need to drink, it's drawing me to it. It's this inner sense of like you can look at it with surety and peace and knowing that it's like if I chose this, I know this will be okay. I am worthy.
Yeah, I don't think he would drink sort of right away because I think like right now he's still afraid that it's his mind playing tricks on him. But I think he just sort of sits there with that feeling, thinking about that and like putting it away, that when it is necessary, he can maybe prove himself.
Mm-hmm. It is, after all, just a cup. And Torben, as your night carries on, as you mentioned, you were singing and drinking. I wanted to check to see where your mind is at now that you've been a bit inebriated, gotten some song out, but in the quiet of camp. How does this night play out for you, at least with what you're thinking about? Or is there any conversation between the three of you that anyone would like to have? I leave it open.
Torben would be happy. He would probably chat anyone's ear off at this point, but uh, I think he's feeling pretty dang good. He killed a werewolf. And yeah, he had help. He didn't do it alone, but he killed a werewolf. And he saw that lady again. He's having a good night.
Very lovely.
Your gods would be pleased with you. Esteval says, kind of like stepping out from probably the end of first watch.
Of course they will. They are. I killed a beast, a great beast. With your assistance, of course.
We did. And if that is what your gods want from you, then certainly you've done them a great service.
My gods enjoy victory. And so do I.
Truly, I'm not sure there's anybody out there in the world who enjoys defeat.
There is.
I can't imagine that's a culture or a civilization that would be around for very long.
Torben will lean in a little sloppily, leaning on his good arm, and say, "Our temple is part of an organization that uses an execution method as its symbol, Esteval. Your religion is based on defeat. It glorifies in it. And I love it for that."
There's a way of looking at it, yes. I'm not sure I agree fully with the interpretation, but I understand the point.
If not for his defeat, sin would not be paid off, and none of you would go to your sad, boring little heaven.
I'm not sure that's what waits for us either. But again, I understand the point. For me, it was about sacrifice. It was about the willingness to give up one's everything. We see the cross as an execution device or a torch device. But I think the point that certainly our masters would have had us take away was the willingness to go, or willingness to stay when Christ could have fled Jerusalem in those final nights. You know, it was waiting for him. It was more important that he lived through those. It's a message that we will not be deterred, that we will not be defeated, that we will not be giving anything up, no matter how dark or how dangerous or how terrible things look. If anything, actually, Torben, I think you, Delia, exemplify that quite a great deal. Your willingness to stand in the face of adversity, no matter how dark or how terrible things get. I'm a coward, you see.
You are no coward. You are perhaps more enamored of navel gazing than is befitting a man of your skill, but you are no coward, Esteval. And I will warn you, I will defend my friend to the death, so you should speak better of him.
But Elia?
You.
Very well. That fire is something that I think we need. Without it, I think we would have been lost.
We killed a werewolf.
So we did. So we did.
Celebrate. We are alive.
And the werewolf.
And we killed a werewolf.
Is not, yes.
There must be more drink here somewhere.
I'm afraid there isn't. I think we'll have to get back into town for that. But when we do, there will certainly be more celebrating to be had. You have to pace yourself. If you get all your celebrating out in one evening, what is there to do for tomorrow?
More celebrating.
Fair point. Your endurance knows no bounds.
We will see this through, one way or the other.
I hope you're right.
I usually am. I am beautiful and usually correct.
You are beautiful and usually correct.
Now my arm hurts. Please speak quieter.
I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm. And the night can pass by if that's the group's intention. I must ask, Torben, since it was mentioned off recording and as like a wish, is the lingering question of the cairn a thing that you're thinking about still? About werewolf becoming a werewolf? Or rather, necessarily, this might be a more of a Ben question, but yeah, more so just checking on that. If you think what's going to happen there.
Torben would be tempted, not going to pretend he wouldn't be. That seems like a very powerful asset if he could control it. And there's no easy way to know. And the risk might just be too high.
That's fair. Well, something of note for you then. It's a small thing, but you have a dream in your inebriated, wounded, recovering state. So it's rather hazy, but the contours of it involve you sitting by the moonlit waters with that mysterious woman. You're down to your simple linen clothes, breeches, an open shirt, and she's sitting across from you. Before you is the disassembled pieces of your armor. And then next to that is your shield. And she's humming softly, hand moving between the two of them, either your armor or the shield. And she meets your eyes. And there are no words from her, but just something in the way that she looks at you and dream logic and body language. She's asking you to choose one, whether you wish to, which one you would consider yourself at this moment more welcome and adept with. Are you a master of your armor, or are you a strong bearer of the shield?
Ooh. He would defend his friends to the death, as he said, and I think that speaks to the shield.
Indeed. She just places her hand on the shield, and you find yourself placing your hand on top of hers, and the shield seems particularly bright in the moonlight. You will receive the Shield Bearer Martial Esoterica, which increases the damage reduction from shields by 1. So whenever you're wielding shields, it increases. Yeah, so that's a permanent for all shields, not just the one that is being chosen in the dream. This is not the item. This is you. You are a stout and proud shield bearer. So I believe so. That should be always like a 3 now on shields. So incredible. Let's take a short break as everyone beds down for camp. Assuming nothing else of interest happens, the following morning, camp can be broken down, and Annalise is curious as to know what the 3 of you will be doing. She's planning to, well, do something about the bounty, because her proof is somewhat vanished in terms of a beast, but there is the body of a dead, naked priest, and she doesn't feel like hauling that back through the woods quite yet. So she's kind of figuring out what she wants to do. But the question remains what the three of you will be doing. I know there are some unanswered questions some of you might be asking, or if you're intending to return to your quest and split ways. What would the Templars like to do?
Torben's injuries could be a handy excuse to go back to town with her if we wanted to have an excuse.
Oh, thank God. I was hoping for an excuse. No, she helped us with the werewolf. We can help her lug this body back if that's what she wants.
Indeed.
We
Annalise,
could help her hunt a normal wolf if she wants to bring that in for the bounty. I
Are
mean, this is out of character. Elia would not suggest
I was
this
about to say, are
because
you
that's
suggesting
lying.
are you suggesting
But
we lie?
I mean, she isn't lying. The thing is dead. It's not going to hurt anyone anymore. It's just she needs something to show them, right? So just kill like a normal wolf.
well, I think Annalise would probably want to speak on this matter and say, like, what do I tell the people about? She gestures at the dead body. I know what I saw, but many are not going to believe that a beast could transform into a man. Do I tell them he was responsible and make up some half truth? Or do we claim him a victim in all this and bring back the carcass of some wolf?
He must have been some sort of victim. He is a man of God. He would never willingly do any of this. Something terrible must have happened.
Well, that is beyond for me to know. I just want to make sure that I get the bounty and that
exactly.
his body is taken wherever it needs to be.
I think if it is a bounty you want, you are more readily to be believed by bringing them the head of a wolf than you are by bringing them a priest.
Elia here does certainly have a certain way with words. If you need people to believe anything, Elia is certainly quite persuasive. I think the truth is important, but the truth in this case has a way of breeding superstition that may indeed hurt any causes more than it might help them. If there's a way you could quietly assure the people in charge of your bounty might understand that the things killing their cows and chickens every full moon is no longer in the picture, perhaps a deferred payment might be their plan.
He just shrugs and says, I mean, as long as the attacks stop, they'll probably believe whatever I tell them if I give them a wolf, and then there is no more livestock taken over the next few nights. And well, they'll probably see it as proof enough. At least that's what I hope.
How important is the truth to you?
Not as important as eating a good meal and preparing for this winter. There are some lies in this world worth telling simply because they're more, they're easier, I guess. Easier to continue on.
Still, we must give him a proper burial. Does your village have a parish at least?
Well, he's not the priest of my village, but the town he is from is just as well within a day's ride of here. I get around. The village I was born in isn't really the village I live in. I move around hence the whole woodswoman thing. We can take him back to his town. If you wish, you can bury him at his church. I'm sure, well, he would be known more there. People might be thankful, though he is, of course, quite naked. You could perhaps just say you found him. There are, of course, brigands in these woods. He could have been ambushed,
No,
stripped
no.
naked.
The truth is that he was killed by this werewolf just like any of the other animals. It's a different sort of death, but they don't need to know that.
It looks like he was pierced and cut by blades, Esteval.
No. Will the people who bury him need to know all of that? Will they need to see the body at that level of detail? If so, then maybe we just say that we found him. Bring back the cross that we found. They'll have to take it on faith. The body was barely identifiable.
Approach it however you want. I stake no claim here. This is your business. But I would appreciate help in efficiently hunting a decently sized wolf in these woods. I can handle well enough myself, but
I'll go with you.
Annalise looks to Torwin and Elias and says, well, then we will delay our return trip by one day. Want to make sure that we have something to take in. Why don't the two of you figure out what it is you'll do about our wayward priest here?
I think Elia gives Esteval like a little side-eyed look at how fast she was like, I'll go with you. I hope that I will uplift you in prayer so that your eyes do not wander kind of judgment that he does not say, but you can feel radiating off of him. But I think he will just not, and he can stay here with Torben.
Torben does the silent equivalent of like just a little. He sees.
Love it. In abstract, then, Esteval, you will make a hunting test here with advantage because you have Annalise in your company. You are welcome to use intellect or quickness for this. I know they're the same number for you, so ultimately it doesn't matter. You can color the fiction whichever way you want based on the roll here. And I'm just double checking something really fast. You get advantage, and you'll also have a +3 to this roll as well.
Okay. 3d6, keep two highest.
And I believe this is
+9.
We'll just say that this is 15. It's not the hardest thing to do.
Okay. All right. Advantage. So 3d10, keep highest 2, +6, +3, so +9 total. 24, but no crit.
Okay, well, no crit, but you do get a bit of a hunt in. It's actually quite efficient, and you can put to use some of the practice that Annalise showed you last night. Able to find a small pack of wolves, so there is a particularly mangy big one amongst them. You can kill it quite efficiently, and Annalise will just heft it with your help. She'll say, "This will do. Good job." And is there anything between Torben and Elias worth remarking on, or do Esteval and Annalise return to camp and we go from there?
Torben would have a suggestion, and Elias won't like it. When Estevao and the name literally just fled my head.
Annalise.
Annalise, thank you. Have left earshot, he'll turn to Elias and say, "We should take the body somewhere that some animals can get to it."
No, we are giving him a proper Christian burial. We're
We
not
can do
letting
that
it.
too. We need to make it not look like this man was killed by my sword.
They will not know it is your sword.
They will know it is a sword. A big sword. And my
Why
sword is
would we
very
kill
big.
him and return him to them? Why would they think that that is something that we wish to do?
We found him by the side of a trail, perhaps gotten to by brigands, perhaps just dead of natural causes, and the animals had their way, as they do in nature. If we're
Why?
killing a wolf to disguise this, the man needs to look like he's been eaten by a wolf.
Or these could be two things. People are killed in the woods by things that are not wolves. He's a man of God, Torben.
He
We
is.
cannot mutilate his body for convenience.
We are not mutilating his body, and the
We are
animals
letting
need
it happen on purpose.
Very well.
I was going to say we could give him Alphonse's clothes, the ones that I gave to you. That
Not,
would make some of the wounds be less obvious too. And then we don't have to haul him around like disrespectfully.
those clothes are not what a priest from a small village would have. We would raise more questions.
Very well.
Your soft heart is admirable, and it will cause no end of trouble.
It's not a matter of a soft heart. It is a matter of his eternal soul.
Which is already sorted, if I understand it.
Not if he doesn't get a proper burial. Not if his last rites aren't observed.
Both can be true. We can collect him after.
Fine. Fine. Do what you think is best. I'm so tired of arguing all the time. Do what you think is best.
Very well. Torben's gonna move to collect the body.
I think this is pretty well handled during the time that Estevao and Annalise are out. You can leave the body out, maybe to attract something to at least nibble on it. I will say that by the time Estevao and Annalise return with a wolf carcass, you will have found some wild dogs poking and chewing at the priest's carcass. Nothing significant, but there are canid bite marks, some torn skin. It's not egregious, but it looks like a beast got to it briefly, but definitely after the kill, which again is entirely plausible with what you presented here. And Annalise will say that you can head out tonight, and you can head out now and reach the town by nightfall, or we can head out in the morning and be there midday. You guys move pretty efficiently today, so she sees no reason to delay unless you want to wait for more light.
We can go
All
now.
right.
All haste.
All haste. The next day, a drizzle of rain continues throughout the day. Skies are gloomy and chill. And after a day's hike through the woods, with Annalise leading you, as this is familiar territory to her, you guys emerge in one of the nearby towns of this region at the forest's edge. A simple place, peaceful, all things considered. There is a weathered chapel, some graves, buildings, farmers, a public house. By all accounts, an unremarkably mundane village. Annalise will handle her business for this evening. And since she doesn't want your aid to go entirely unpaid, she does put in a good word with the owner of the public house, since she's very well known around these parts as a woodswoman, and gets you all effectively, should you want to, just a free tap room floor to sleep on for the evening, unless you wanted to make camp elsewhere outside the village. But she'll put in a good word. Do you wish to handle anything with this priest tonight, or will you?
I think Elia would want to do it as quickly as possible because just having like a corpse around is not very Christian.
By the way, how have you been traveling with this carcass?
I think I probably like basically put my cloak over them. And then I assume that maybe we took another cloak to sort of have like a stretcher to carry them on.
Yeah, like a litter or
Something
something.
like that. Yeah.
Makes sense. I think this would definitely draw some eyes from the locals, who see three strangers ferrying a wrapped up body into town. Now, I've asked this question so much, but it's worth revisiting again. What is everyone wearing?
Cross not displayed.
I think for once, Elia has also, because he doesn't have the cloak to hide it. I think he's wearing it like under his chain. So they would still see a very like armor-clad stranger, but the cross is not displayed.
Same with Torben. He's incognito as he gets.
The bailiff will arrive, summoned by locals to investigate what this matter is, as three armed strangers carrying a dead body into town, and very much wants to know the meaning of what this is, especially when it's revealed who you're carrying. People will want answers. One of you may make a test here. This will not determine necessarily the success of the task, but whether or not your arrival in town under these circumstances will increase your pursuit points by any degree, as local farmers are not going to take up arms against three heavily armed strangers who carry a dead body into town seemingly out of goodwill, but they might be suspicious and word might spread. So who is handling conversing with the locals to present the story as you've concocted here?
Yeah, Elia can definitely do that.
That's fair. I got votes in the chat. Yeah. How do you approach this?
Yeah, I think Elia will basically say that, I think the story will basically go, they met Annalise in the woods, who was hunting this great beast. They helped her, and then the last victim of that great beast was this priest that they found. So, like, knowing he was a priest, Annalise, like, very helpfully told them which village it was in. So they thought that he deserved a proper burial. I think that's basically like the story. Like, we were helping hunting that beast, which is now taken care of. No more worries, which he also hopes, like, puts them in, like, a better light because, hey, we did help stop that problem for you. And also, we are so nice to bring you your priest back. I think that's what he's going to say.
Sure. What I assume you're angling for, uh, like what attribute are you angling for here for?
Um, I would say either courage or faith, but given that it's like about a priest, there's definitely like a faithful angle here where we're basically presenting us as like very pious, good people who went like to all the trouble to bring back your priest, right?
Yeah, faith makes sense to me, especially if you're appealing to the fact of as you described. I'm into it, and then plus
Mhm.
persuade.
That would make sense to me.
Because Annalise is well known around here, her involvement will give you advantage.
Noise.
And if anyone has a 2 or higher in persuade, also further aid, but no one does. So you get to roll. And I will say that this is going to be honestly, it's not that high. I'll say this just requires a bit of effort. So it's a 15. Like,
Okay.
you guys have concocted a pretty like good, reasonable story with all the parts in play of the region. And so it's not particularly challenging to convince people. Now, if there was more amiss with this, then maybe. But no, I think this is honestly pretty straightforward.
Okay, so I have a +9, so I need to get a 6 on the dice or more.
Yep, or more.
Oh, it's a double 8 crit with
Very
that
good.
advantage. There we go.
Take an advancement point. And I think not only are people just easily bought into it. You are not greeted as heroes, but it's more of like you're seen as like kind Samaritans who were just like who would carry a dead priest a day's hike through the woods back to the town, and apparently helped Annalise as well. So everyone's on like pretty good terms with you, and actually like offers to like you get offers like someone will like buy you around at the public house. They'll bring you drinks. The community expresses its gratitude to you.
Was that the only priest in this village? Probably was,
Yes,
right?
it's the only priest. Yeah, and he had the chapel here. I mean, like neighboring towns, those priests as well would they come in and out. They would converse with one another. They were in contact and discussing things. So, but like in terms of this town, yeah, he's the only one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only question that would be is there anyone here that can take care of like the burial?
Yeah, there's someone who works at the chapel as like a gravedigger for you actually find out that this man's name, he was in this community as Father Lazar, and you get actually, because of a critical, I don't even need to like speak around like beat around the bush with this. You have this like immediate impression like that like he was pretty like well loved by this community, but as of late there's been like a weird vibe about him, right? People talk about how he was like angry and short-tempered, like, which is completely out of character for him. He used to go through walks around town every morning to speak with people, but like stopped doing that because just like dogs would lose their fucking minds, like barking and like raising hell, and it would like scare like small children. So he just decided to he just became a bit of a shut-in. People were very worried about him, and now he just turned up dead, and so there's a grief there. But you definitely clock that like people around here noticed that he was acting strangely. You can pass him off for burial if you so desire, and I think it'll be handled from there. There's talk about like writing to the nearby communities, if maybe like send for someone else to like come a new priest for the town. Such things go on, pretty standard and simple. Now his church stands empty, as his quarters are there. do you feel the inclination to learn more about what happened to him or see if there are like remnants of it? Or are you just going to let sleeping werewolves lie, let him be buried and move on?
Yeah, Elia.
I mean, Elia is fine with that, but I've got the feeling someone else isn't.
Wait, Elia is fine letting this go?
I mean, he knows that it's just if you sleep in the cairn, you get cursed. That I mean, I think that's what he found out last time. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where he is a bit curious, but he's like kind of justifying it to himself, like, well, obviously Esteban is gonna look into it anyway, so I might as well be there to make sure that he doesn't do anything like disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think if we are allowed inside the church, then I think Elia, I mean, he would frame it as he would just love to pray there. Like he's not gonna
Sure.
tell them, but
Oh, I see how it is. All right. Yes, Esteval will look into this because the curse is interesting from a secular point of view. Transformation, guardian of the natural world. There might be something to be learned here about the world that we live in.
And I assume Torben is enjoying the fine nectar of this community's tap.
Absolutely, yes.
Incredible. Torben is very much enjoying himself there. And the two of you are there. I will say that just riding off of the critical of the goodwill that you have with this community and the fact that, the priest is being buried, like the chapel does kind of stand alone. I think that buys you, Esteval, a window of time to poke around unimpeded under the auspices of just praying, provided nobody else like shows up here and like pokes into your business. Elias, are you praying in earnest, or are you not praying at all? I know you said you would go there under the auspice of praying, but I wanted to check to see if you actually were.
I mean, I think like as we enter, he does like just like a brief like sign of respect, but I think he will follow Estevao
Sure.
to the quarters. Out of character, my brain is completely blanking on what we said that Elia remembered of his family last time. He remembered like his father having a book or something
Yeah,
that
like just books of lore and stuff like
yeah.
that, like piecing together different sources. It was mostly just like the various sources of knowledge that your family could pull from for like different things. It was like it was nothing like from one specific book. It was more of like my family knew a bunch of things, and like piecing that knowledge together allows me to have a better understanding of this situation just based on like their broad knowledge. We of course also, as players, revealed that Elias has actually been lying about having no idea about like what his family was up to. He simply was just like repressing that and trying to like have like a loftier ideal for his family, but he knew things. So like what he told Esteval was not true.
Good.
Don't
Thank you
lose
for
faithfulness for lying?
You do not
No,
actually.
you don't. You do not. I was just playing life on hard mode by not lying before.
And again, this is a
It's not a
situation where like
sin. It's not a sin.
there are situations where if you told a particularly like grievous lie, I mean like something that would be like, oh my God, how could you do that? Like detrimentally, then I'm like, you're not gonna lose faith points. You might start taking corruption though if the lie is like horrible enough, right? But let's like lying about your past for the sake of like this, I don't think that is a sin in the eyes of God in terms of damning your soul to all eternity. We play fast and loose with morality here. So Esteval, it's not a lot to go through, but I will say that just with time, like poking around, there's the usual thing you'd expect. There's herb gardens, just a pretty simple small town priest life, Bibles, some other like small Latin tomes that he had referred to. But you do find a book that he had taken to writing to as like sort of like his own personal like journal. And cursory inspection, like flipping through like pages, just shows like written down thoughts on various affairs of the community, ideas for his sermon, stuff like that. But luckily, you're a smart enough boy to not flip through it page by page, and you do the handy thing of skip to the end and go from the most recent entries, and it paints you a pretty decent picture here. And I don't think there's any need to roll for anything on this because, frankly, you haven't needed to sneak in here, and this is just you can read and you can move on with your day. But dating back roughly around to the same time period as what Annalise was talking about of like when the attack started, like Father Lazar started going into the woods more so to like forage for like useful herbs. You see kind of like a kindred soul in this regard of just like someone who did some like light herbology, like salves and something, not like a full-on apothecary, but someone who maintained herb gardens, and just went to admire the glory of God's creation out in the woods. Got lost on one trip, and this is all written as like the aftermath of it, right? Like he like came back from the woods after a spell of bad weather, an early onset darkness, getting lost, and he found shelter in the cairn that he just stumbled across. And he was well aware of the superstitions and the legends that surround it, that it's an ungodly place and bad things happen to those who reside there. But ultimately, he saw him finding it at a moment of need as a sign that God would keep him safe. And so, clutching his rosary, he descended into it, slept, and woke the next morning. He recalls very vague dreams of like running wild and of like hunting in the forest. Felt very primal, but they were more feverish than anything. But he woke up the next morning just fine and managed to find his way back to town. And the following entries from there begin to reveal this like unsettling thing of like he has realized that something has happened to him, that he has been cursed. He is transforming into a beast, that he is like living in fear, and that he is like killing like animals and like livestock to satiate it. But like he feels that like he has enough control over the beast now to not harm anyone, but is satiating the needs through livestock. And he was a very afraid person. He was afraid of what would happen if the secret of his curse was to get out, as well as for the eternal condition of his soul, seemingly having fallen victim to some vile magic, not understanding what's happening to him. He had conversations with a priest from a nearby chapel who, he didn't reveal any of this to, but, learn just talking about not curses directly, just sort of in a really roundabout way, remembers in like an anecdote that this fellow, priest had mentioned, just something about like how, like the, stuff, the healing powers of the healing cup of Christ, and just stuff like that of like, one's eternal soul, and that like how very weird, bordering like Gnostic religious stuff, like on the very edge of just, being like, hey, some like loose ideas and speculation, not on anything practical in that pre-size, just of like scripture and external sources. So this priest got it in his head that if he could figure out a way to reverse the curse, that would help. And then the last entry in the book is him talking about the powerfully feverish like dream he had after transforming back into his human form. He describes it as a dream, but he says it's a dream, but the way he describes in the journal is almost like a waking dream, like walking through like a vision almost. But he refers to it as like a dream or something like feverish and bestial. It's very loose and nonsensical, but it suggests he had like a portentous foretelling of you three passing through the region with the cup, and he saw it as like a boon from God. He didn't really understand the full nature of it, but he just saw that it was something that could finally lift his curse, and that he would piece together this ritual, and he just hoped that like all of this would work. And this sort of does some heavy lifting in the way of your encounter with the beast, because you recall, and especially if you speak about this with the others, how desperate it looked. And it wasn't constantly angling to kill any of you. It was constantly angling to get the cup and seclude itself, get away from you. And it was feral, but there was that intelligent desperation of like, it knew like that aspect of the priest carried over to the beast, right? Anyway, that's the summary.
That's a lot.
Were you like movie style kind of reading it out loud so Elia would know what's in it, or?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. No reason to shut Elia out of this.
Then I think Elia looks like pale and shaken, and I think he actually like kind of has to sit down or lean on the if there's a desk, and say, "We could have saved him.
We didn't know.
We killed a man of God for nothing. We could have. What if God did send us to help this man and we didn't understand?
We didn't know.
Didn't try very hard to figure it out."
We must carry the wisdom forward with us, so that maybe others may not make the same mistake.
What if we condemned his soul, Esteval? What if we shut him out from heaven? What if it was our fault?
No, we're not that catalyst. Ultimately, he still slept in the cairn. He still made the initial decision, the choice, the accident, whatever you want to call it. It's not. I won't deny our part in it, but these things happen without our understanding sometimes.
Maybe, but is it not our duty to make sure that is it not our duty to help people go to heaven? Those who might have deserved it, at least. To at least give them a chance
We don't
to
know
find
yet.
God's grace.
We don't know yet. Maybe his soul was saved. Maybe we don't know. We don't. We have to take it on faith that. And if we made mistakes, we're not perfect. We're human. We sin. We err. That's what we do. That's the point of all this, isn't it?
Yes,
Choice we have now is to learn and to be better in the future.
God will give him the grace. That is right. Our part in that will be small and insignificant. It is God who makes the choice. Yes. It wasn't us. It can't be us.
We knew we needed the cup. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
And that's all we knew. We were scared to lose it. We were scared to lose this whole quest. Well, then, all we can do is move forward now.
We can do is ask for God's grace.
We mustn't let Torben know.
You're right. He's so proud of what he did. There is no need to poison that.
And I think to the sound of rain pattering against the church windows, the two of you standing there in silence, we'll bring the session to a close. Shorter session this week, but very dramatic. Good job, everyone. Let's go to Stars and Wishes.
I'll start off with that scene right there at the end. That was really great from both of you. Really brought the pathos. Saw the depths of your characters there in a way that it's always fun to see. This was a fun session. Really love Estevao and Annalise getting some time together. Estevao's rush to volunteer there was very cute. And yeah, Elias's opposition to Torben's plan with the body made a lot of sense, and I love that Elia has this code that is definitely going to keep causing trouble for them, and I love that for this little group. Good session. Looking forward to next one, not the least of which because it's 12. Alec and presents.
Yeah, I'll go. I also just realized that my webcam was only on the recording off for who knows how long. So I may be in ambient godlike voice fitting enough. Yeah, I know that we were going into this with a shorter session, but I mean, first of all, we had a couple weeks off. So very happy to play a bit today. And just as I've started before, really wonderful character scenes with these guys. They feel so like complete, and I like a lot of what you guys bring to the tables of Torben getting drunk and celebrating and having fun at this phase is it compared to like a few sessions ago when Torben was just kind of like pent up and angry and stressed, and now Torben's just kind of like, I killed a beast. I love this. I love it. And also I love that speech you gave about being like, your religion uses a fucking implement of execution for its symbol. And I love them for that. Like, oh my God, this fucking violent Dane. I love him so much. And I mean, obviously, yeah, I'm also going to start that scene between Estevao and Elias in the church. I mean, we had great scenes all together, but like that one was such a great conversation, dude. And the pause before just quietly saying like, don't tell Torben was so good. Yeah, I have some ideas for like some stuff I want to introduce for the next few sessions, but this was very much a side quest. And so like I feel like it has like wrapped up. I don't think there's much else to do here. And the Templars quest to reach like the border of Navarre is about to resume. And from there, you'll be in the Iberian Peninsula trying to get to Lisbon. I have more thoughts about things that are going to come up, and some crazy stuff that'll pop off. But yeah, I really like how the session tonight flowed. I feel like it just, as all of us, and this like stars to us as players as well as a game group, we have a good like flow state as a group, and we know how to like set like the narrative framing and pacing, and it's all very satisfying to watch, even as I'm like from the GM seat and kind of like moving the pieces around. I relish all the moments you guys give me where I do feel like an audience participant where I just get to sit back and watch. It helps me help you. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I have.
Yeah. Obvious star for I really liked Esteban and Torben's bonding scene. It was really fun. Um, I feel I like how Esteban is like very like I don't want to say preachy, but like goes on these lengthy speech in like a very different way than Elia does, but Torben kind of has the same reaction to them, which I think is kind of funny. Yeah, I love that conversation, the whole like it's about sacrifice. Maybe more Christian than he wants to admit, honestly. Maybe he should get at least one little fate point. I like that. I loved all the things. I loved the training scene with Annalise. I thought that was really cool. That was really great to see Esteban's element there. And just like the way that you two like played that off and trusted each other for that scene was really fun to watch. For Ben, yeah, I love Torben just yeah, the difference from like how he reacted to that defeat with the werewolf to him just being now like, let's just fucking party. We did it, man. We're alive. I killed a fucking werewolf. This shit is awesome. I don't know why you're all like being upset about it. And I also love that he does keep coming up with ideas where like even in character Torben is like, oh, this is gonna be another whole thing, but I do need to say it. Which I think it's so fun that they like both Elia and Torben just have like these moments where they're like, "Ugh, I'm gonna say something and you're gonna do a thing, but we need to get through it." Um, and yeah, I liked how that scene went. With Elia giving in for once, which I don't know if that's a great thing for him, but yeah. Um, yeah, Alex, I really like that description of like the cup and like how Elia felt like it might be fine to drink from it. That felt like, I mean, like Elia is obviously being like, oh, that's a sign from God. But I feel like, especially with that priest, now, like at the end of the session, it feels almost like he might also see it as, well, the devil is a very clever liar. And he tempts you
No, this
into
is me telling you
hubris.
you can use
I
the
know
cup
it
safely
is.
now.
I know it is you as a GM telling me that, but me as a player, I'm like, Elia's gonna be like, is this a sign from God or is it the devil? Like, he's been called proudful, like so like prideful so many times. He's like, shit, is this the devil getting
This is
me?
why I framed it as like Elias not feeling a compulsion, but a comfort. Motherfucker.
What, you think I'm gonna make your life easy? No, yeah, just a really fun session. I liked it a lot. Yeah, I mean, honestly, my wish is I do really badly want Elia to drink from the cup, but I'm like, that's too important and cool a moment to just like do. And I'm like kind of stuck as a player because I'm like, I feel like I can't just be like, and Elia drinks from the cup now, bitches. Like, I feel like we need a dramatic setup, but I'm also like not sure how to get there. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he should just fucking do it. I don't know. But my wish is, yeah, he should drink from it. And I do want it to be cool because I want to know what happens when he does. And yeah, I want to I want to see the continuation of Elia and Estevao and like how Estevao is like trying to learn these things and Elia now is aware that he's been lying and hasn't really made an attempt to fix that. And of course, I always want more Elia and Torben because they're very cute together and I like them.
Wait, Elia knows Esteval's been lying about stuff?
No, he has been lying because
Oh,
before that
oh,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
kind of like repressing it, and I was like, oh shit, should
Got
I
it, got
say
it, got it.
something? But then
Yeah.
it's like awkward.
Because that's the thing, like Esteval was like racking up secrets. Things he knows about Elia, things he knows about well, not things that he knows about Torben, but Elia and Esteval now have a secret that they've agreed to not tell Torben. And Esteval is just like getting piled and piled and piled under like just the weight of secrecy. Um and it's very interesting position for him to be in. But yeah, so um stars, yeah, mine might have been said, but to echo the I had a lot of fun being earnest with Torben. and seeing the two of them together. And I was thinking about it on break, but these characters feel like NPCs in other character stories, like the quest givers, like somewhere down the line, but we're learning like their backstories now here. And it's a really interesting sort of dichotomy that these characters have with each other. It's been really fun to explore. Um, but yeah, and then the other thing is like Star to just like rolling with this situation that we're in where we made a mistake and like letting the good guys make the wrong choice. If we had all the information, we definitely would have done something different. We would have tried to, get the werewolf to drink from the cup, learn from this, maybe restore the priest. But it's not fun when the good guys always win, when they're always the big plucky heroes. So start to like this sort of whole setup and running with it. Um, yeah, it's been really fun. My wish is that Elia never drinks from the cup. Um, because apparently Jazzy just wants us to not be happy. So I'm just going to suggest the opposite things now. So I hope Elia never drinks from the cup. I hope we just carry with us, and that Elia just leaves it alone the whole time. We never even speak about it again. In fact, Elia should just like not worry about the cup. Never think about it. Never deal with it. Worry about it. Yeah. Um. That's there. There we go. No. I kept thinking about like Mr. Novell and just like trying to find little ways to narrate him in this session, but definitely like in the next few sessions I want to remind myself that, oh yeah, I have a pet cat that is with us too, and I'd like to not forget about his existence, but we had a couple of weeks off, so I was like trying to get my feet back under me. Um but yeah, I think those are the big ones. Some kind of resolution with Annalise, because I doubt she'll come with us. She's got her own life, and that's fair and valid. Um, but that's the stuff that's on my mind. But we do have to pack up and move on, I think. So looking forward to see what that is. And I think that's what I got.
Indeed. Any other stars or wishes? Then I will bring the recording to a close.